I'd like to call the Village of Somerset Plan Commission meeting Thursday, August 2nd, 2023 to order at 6:00 p.m. Roll call, Dave Wallner.
Present.
Myself, Mike Capper's here.
Shannon Langston.
Then Walter's here.
All right, and absent is Brenda Forrest and Dave Vanasse.
Dan.
Dan Vanasse, sorry.
I'm gonna let.
Brenda's
Oh, Brenda's
not.
on Zoom.
She said she was gonna come on Zoom.
Just having a hard time getting in.
I'm having a hard time getting in too. I mean, I was using that meeting ID.
Got some people in.
Josh, I can see.
The president is Josh Hecht.
I keep getting it in that meeting.
Is it bringing you anywhere? The link, the meeting ID, is it bringing you anywhere?
Well, I tried the link in the media, or, you know, in the invite, then that didn't work, so I went to the revised agenda. And that didn't work.
Some old agenda maybe, someone?
The meeting ID is not that.
For him either.
Well, let's see what we can find.
What did Amy use? She got.
I know, she got it, she got it.
Maybe I'll try the old agenda. I don't know if I have it.
You have another packet?
Hi.
Here,
Thank you.
welcome.
814.
Instead of 841.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's try 814, 3126, 3742. That's for password.
I just forwarded the in check.
Just now you did that? Andrea?
Yes, I did.
Can you send it to me as well? How did some people get in?
I don't know.
The one on the current agenda is incorrect.
There's Brenda. Brenda's getting in.
Mike, I just hit the Zoom link on the email that we got from the updated agenda.
Recording in progress.
Are we ready now? All right, and also joining us now is Josh Hecht and Dan Vanas, and is Brenda.
Yep, she's on Zoom.
Brenda Forrest is on by Zoom. I'd like to call the regular meeting to order. It is now 6:05 PM. Public comment on agenda items, 2 minutes per person and 15 minutes per topic. If anybody has any public comment, if they could go for the podium. And Peter, if you can say your full name and your address.
Yeah, I got my instructions right here.
No, perfect.
I'm Peter Johnson, 1848 County Road I. I've been there, living there about 25 years or so. And what I'm trying to figure out a little bit is some rumor and conceptions and get some things figured out regarding, I think at the last planning meeting, there was a group in here saying that they were going to be putting some sort of sports or recreational center or proposing to buy land from Bill Peterson, annex it with the village, and then develop some sort of whatever it is, sports complex. I'm the adjacent property owner. That's my property that it butts right up against. And I butt right up against the concert site. And so what I'm concerned about is, A, these guys have never had a conversation with me as the adjacent property owner. B, I'm the only one with viable access to that property back there currently. C, they drive on my property without my permission. And they were out the maybe a week ago, driving across my property, all looking at the land. And I tried to stop them because I didn't know who it was. It was 3 black Suburbans or whatever running around back there. And they took off like they'd been caught. And so I have a bit of a predisposition against them right now. Going back on some of the Zoom calls, I've noticed that they're talking about 300,000 visitors a year. And I want to know what the plan is for what kind of roads, what kind of development, what's that about? Do these people have the resources financially in order to do something like this? And then I guess I'm just really, really concerned that this is kind of a hurry up fantasy idea thing that's happening. And I have not been included on any of these things.
And I know in public comments, really not our time to go back and forth. It's just to listen. But as far as I know, it was 2 meetings ago, they came with more of just a concept, right, Gunther?
Yeah.
Nothing set in stone yet.
Right.
It wasn't to the point of notifying adjacent landowners or getting it on the full board agenda or anything like that.
No, and I get that. I sat on the Township Land Committee for a long time, for a number of years, and I understand that, but there is protocol, right? And there is neighbor and there's small town etiquette in that process. So those kind of things concern me. And I guess I just want to start, I'll be attending meetings from here on out. But, what is the village position on, vetting these guys? What is the money? Where is it? How are they disseminating it? What's the investment structure? When you're talking fantasy numbers of 300,000 people coming to this thing, where is that coming from? What's the business plan? What's the exit plan? What's the strategy? If you guys are going to be planning on putting gas, street and sewer and all that out there, who's on the bag and who's on the hook for that? And then, by the way, has anybody come out to take a look at that property? There's nothing under a 12% slope and grade. There's 2 wetlands back there. And then it butts against my wetland, which is a 3rd. So I'm just putting it out there.
I know where your place is, but isn't that place all across on the other side of I and the south side of I?
I'm on the south side of I, and that's what they're looking is right behind our place. So I have the property, I own the front, and then all the way east to the tree line, or just about to the tree line. And then back behind my barn, about another 150 feet swamp.
Okay. I
So,
thought you were on the other side of the road.
no, on that side.
You still have my phone number?
Yep.
Okay, why don't you shoot me a text and I'll give you my village email address.
Okay,
And then these guys are local. I'm sure I can get them to reach out to you. So you guys can have that conversation directly.
cool. I appreciate it. Just want to put it out there. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks. Anybody else for public comment? Hearing none, we take a look at the minutes from June 29th, 2023 meeting.
Make a motion to accept the June 29 meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. New business presentation of multifamily development, capital investment, the Eau Claire Realty.
Good evening. Bill Albright, Capital Investment Partners, Eau Claire Realty. With me is Nick Bender, is our project manager. I do have a presentation that Bob's going to put up on the screen there. Been working with Bob in the village here for the past 9 months. We're a multifamily builder, manager, real estate company located in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, Chippewa Falls area. And we've been working in this area for, I don't know, about 4 or 5 years now, over in New Richmond, River Falls area and so on. So wanted to have a meet and greet, so to make sure that if we had some questions up front, so you guys know who we are. When we start, when our name comes up during working on some projects here in town. So.
Are you sharing something with me up there?
The presentation I sent you there. Are you doing other projects in town right now?
Not right now, no.
Okay.
No, this will be our first time in Somerset.
In
But
Richmond, you
in
are?
Richmond, we have 2 of them right now.
Right.
Yeah, and one of them is right down the road from here. You've probably seen some of those 8s and 12s that we're doing over there next to the vehicle distribution center.
Yeah.
So
And how many units are you looking to build here in Somerset?
around 105, 108 units. Our mode of operation is around 100 units. That allows us to have kind of a community instead of having a onesie twosie lot, something we can control. And instead of, we don't sell lots, we own everything. We manage everything ourselves, and it's all in-house. And that allows us to make sense to do showings, to come over this area, to have those 100 unit spots around. Currently over in New Richmond, we have a 48 unit spot right across from the golf course that will be occupied and be ready in another, I don't know, about a month or so out. For the 12, there's already 8 already rented. And in town, we have 3 larger buildings called Mill City, which is right by the Quick Trip in town there, that we'll be wrapping up too around the same time. So those are the 2 local ones. And those will be on here too. So this is a brief presentation just to kind of, again, to explain. So who we are, there's 3 of us. I have 3 partners in this, or 2 partners. There's 3 of us total. You want to go back to the first page? Yeah, right there. What we do is we build our own. We're the developer, we're the construction, we're the property management company, we're the real estate company. It's all in-house. Currently have around 35 employees, based out of Eau Claire and Chippewa Falls there, like I said. We come in, we do have investors that partner with us on stuff. We own the majority of the projects. But we do have people over the years. I've been doing this for 23 years now. And we do have a lot of connections over the years that want to be in some of these projects with us, So we opened that up about 5 years ago to allow outside investors, and it's gone really well. It just allows us to do more projects, and it gets more people involved in real estate, which I think is a really good thing. 15 plus years experience as far as Cat Best and Eau Claire Realty. My business partner and I, the original partner and I, and you'll see this later on, I was building houses 20 some years ago. He was putting in irrigation, started doing some of this duplex twin home stuff. And then I partnered with a gentleman that a national company and went out to Colorado, built 300 units out there, got to see some of the amenities that we don't necessarily have around here. They're able to do out there because the rents are higher and there's more people and there's just more of a vibe. Was able to see that and bring some of that back here, and it's very well received. So that's been going real well. Currently have 740 plus units under management in-house, and our portfolios are around 150.
What are the, the addresses in Richmond offhand?
Nick, do the addresses? Well, West Fifth.
Right.
Is right across from the
Golf course.
golf course. And you'll see it right off of what is that? Is it A?
And then Mill City's off of Dorset, like,
Mill City's off Dorset.
And we did take Bob on a tour of both those projects. And I'd be happy to take it, after this meeting or whatever, we can schedule something, and Bob can give you our contact information to take you anywhere you want to go, if you want to go River Falls or over the New Richmond projects. The mission for Eau Claire Realty, Cap Best, is building impactful communities. Now, what that means to me, what that means to us, is to create an environment, a home environment. We don't own buildings here, and there. Used to, sold those, because we want to own communities that are 100 units or around that 100 unit deal. Because we can create an atmosphere of home, with parks, walking trails. All of our units and our facilities are located in areas that make sense as far as connectivity, which is why the Somerset location that we're working with Bob on makes sense. The stuff over in New Richmond, the West Fifth area, that's a 48 unit project. Smaller than what we had, but at least we were able to add that on to an 88 unit that was in New Richmond too. So it makes sense again for staff to come over to that area. So like I said, as far as the impactful communities, it's something that Nick and I like to go to these communities that we created around 4 or 5 o'clock or 6 at night, when you see the families out using the parks and playgrounds and the things that you created. And that's what we mean that ECR about impactful communities. Who we are, myself, partners of Paul Matson and Trevor Boland. Paul and I started the company back in 2006. Both of us were working for other companies, and I was doing that one out in Colorado and so on. Paul he owns a couple of irrigation companies. And we started doing multifamily, got into it deep. Started bringing in some of those outside ideas as far as the different areas within our geographical region. And then we added Trevor Boland. Trevor, we added him about 5 years ago, and he was president of a bank in Eau Claire, and that bank was bought by a competitive bank, and he was morphed into that one, and it was an opportunity for me to approach him to say, hey, we think we have a real good fit for you, and it has been. He has added another level to us as far as the financial side of it, and working with the investors. We're accredited investors, and you have to reach certain requirements to be in with us on certain things. So, and he runs all that stuff. My role is to find the projects, work with the cities, work with the communities, design and the construction side. Paul and Trevor are on the property management and the financing side with that. So Mill City, if you haven't seen it, that's an 88 unit project. We have a pet wash area, and it's a standalone pet wash area that actually anybody can use. They have them over in, again, that was one of those ideas that came from an outside source in out west. But we have them in Altoona, Wisconsin, in Eau Claire area, where for $10 or whatever it is, you go in there and you can wash, or I'm not even sure what it is, $5, but you can wash your pet, your vacuum, and the whole works is encompassed into one unit, kind of like a shipping container type deal, right? We also have a pet walk area with turf, pet turf. A lot of these communities that I've seen over the years have, wherever you have a pet walk area, it's tore up, it's dirt. Over in Mill City, being some of the constraints that we had for being able to get out into a green space area, we have turf over there. That is a water type turf. It's got antibacterial in it for your pet to use. And then we have a hose out there with the watering dish and so on. So around 65 to 70% of renters have pets. So we do allow pets, and we do specify what breeds and so on. We have within that, we have a fitness center and playground, grilling stations. There's a bike fix-it station. It's right along a bike trail. You can actually ride bike from West Fifth over to Mill City, since they created that new bike trail that goes, I can't remember the name, B or something, I think, over there. So that's nice. But that's our Mill City New Richmond project. West Fifth, which is what we were proposing for your area. It's 2-car garages on the 8 plexus, upper, lower. And the 12 plexus have 1-car garages. We haven't quite got into the details of the site layouts and so on, just some rough ideas with Bob and staff of layouts and then the location we had talked about. But we think that'll fit real well in the community. We have worked, some of these ideas and some of these design aspects came from outside of the area. There's a lot of cookie cutter stuff around that we try to stay away from if we can. Obviously, whenever you build something that somebody likes, they tend to try to duplicate it around. We actually designed this building years ago, back in 2010, in Eau Claire. We built a project down south on the south side of Eau Claire that was 219 units that had this type of building. And over the years, we've morphed into some outside ideas. When you get a chance. Right. This is Peregrine Terrace. This is one we completed 2022, a 92 unit one, which would be very similar again to what we'd be proposing here, 12s and 8s, based on around, I think this is 10 acres. It had 92 units. Again, with the parks and the amenities and all of our properties have irrigation. We're really big on landscaping. We want everything to look good outside and inside. We have a gentleman on staff that's just in charge of the maintenance side of our properties. We do own them, we do manage them. They're ours. I treat them just like my own house. And actually today I drove by one of our projects and I was talking to Nick about it. We don't allow satellite dishes. Once you start that, it gets nuts. And every now and then something shows up on the property, but I saw one sticking in our yard. So, but those types of things, it's those little things that we try to make sure that they stay nice. You know, we put time and effort into them, and we want to make sure that they you know, stay nice. So this is a 92 unit one. This is a new one that we just broke ground on here roughly, I don't know, about a month ago. The footings are going in right now. If you go south on 35 out of Hudson. Right before you get, there's Sterling Ponds is a development there on the north side of town. Right, there's a couple roundabouts there on Polson Road and Radio Road. We're right there in that corner. Derrick Builders they're doing some twin homes just to the south of us. This is a 105 unit project. On this project, we'll have a fitness center again. We'll have in-house management services. Actually, the base for the rental department on this side of the state will be based out of this project. It just makes sense now that we've had more units over here to, we're gonna add staff, and that staff should have a home base over here. This is Estover Terrace. We broke ground on this again a month ago. This is a 30 acre, this is a larger one, a 30 acre development, 136 units of multifamily. It also has 20 units of singles and twins, which we work with another builder to buy those from us. We don't do that. I've done all of these types of building over the years as far as single family, twin homes and so on. We do multifamily. We focus on multifamily and we do 8s and 12s, and we do 30 units. And that 30 unit could be morphed into a 28 if it's a fitness center or whatever, but Nick knows how many 2x4s go in there, how many windows go in there, how many, you know, we really dialed it in over the years. After doing these things, getting out of the box a little bit, I used to do public bidding, and it just makes sense for us to find land and to find communities that fit what we build. And that's what we do. We have a 90-mile, our business model is a 90-mile radius out of Eau Claire, Chippewa Falls. And the reason for that is so our staff can get home to their families, to be able to go to the ball games and so on. We don't have anything outside of town besides that. It's an hour-and-a-half drive. Somerset's right on that hour, 20 minutes for the guys. So it makes sense. One of our other business models is to be over 10,000 population. Somerset's not that. but it's also in the path of growth. So there's Somerset, Prescott, Baldwin, some of these other communities that just make sense, especially when we're already over here. Within that a corridor of growth, of travel, and so on. Other projects that we've done, we also own a restaurant in Altoona. So if you ever go to Altoona, Cowboy Jack's, there's 13 of them in the cities. We're the only franchisee out of the cities, and we're the only franchisee. And we're based in Altoona. And again, that was a real estate move. River Prairie is a popular area in Altoona, and they had a location on the river, and we were able to take that location and put in a restaurant. Downtown Menominee built a Cobblestone Inn that we own. Wissota Shores, that's on Lake Wissota, just off the lake there, but that's a large 136 unit. Same, it's very similar to what we're proposing to be over here, the 8s and 12s. And then we are getting into storage on the north side of River Falls. River Falls has a need after a market study research for some storage on that side of town. So as far as references, I believe that was emailed to everybody. We do what we say. We have a good reputation. We always follow through. I enjoy working with communities, and we like to, again, to provide those impactful communities. So, any questions?
Bill, how long do you propose to own this property, these properties for?
You know, most of them around 10 years, at least.
The reason I ask is the history in Somerset is usually the original multifamily builder
Yeah,
keeps the place in pretty good shape.
yeah.
It's after the second, the third, and fourth owners that everything kind of falls apart and looks
Yeah, we've seen
not so
that.
good anymore.
Yeah, we've seen that in some of the properties that we've sold, honestly. You know, but our business plan is 10 years. It's a 10-year hold. So what we do is we do the projections out, and we get a few investors that are in it, you know, and we do these, and they invest for that period of time. Now, it can go longer than that. I mean, we dictate when they sell them. But our mode isn't to sell.
That was my biggest
A lot of them
concern
are,
is that you're.
especially when you go out
sell it.
west. When you go out west, I've noticed that a lot of it is a turn and burn. They call it turn and burn, you know, put crappy windows in and so on, and then sell it and leave the next day with the issues. Well, we don't do that. We put nice materials in, we take care of them like is. Otherwise we wouldn't do we do some really nice landscaping, you know, and that takes time and effort. And we have, like I said, we have a gentleman that just what he does, keep track of things. Any other questions?
Any questions?
Two questions. One is, what would be the average household income, I guess, that you guys are marketing this towards?
You know, we don't really have necessarily an average household income we market towards. They're market rate. They're not low income. It's within the community. You know, it would be very similar to what Richmond is, as far as River Falls is. You know, nowadays that's a really tough question because it could be a two income family. You know, it could be a
Average rents for a single or one bedroom? or
well,
something?
average rents for a one bedroom are around the $1,100. You know, they're up there.
And then 2 bedroom?
Two bedroom is around 1,300 on some of them. You know, we have 3-bedroom units. Those would be around 1,600. They're large units, which nowadays you need to, you know, which is again why we're working with you guys. You know, is to be able to create new communities. You can't just come into a city and buy land, put all the infrastructure in, and create these buildings, and then try to get a lower rent. You know,
What chunk of land you looking at?
Did 5, so would be adjacent to Growing Wings facility.
On the village
Growing
property?
Wings, yeah. So yeah, so I mean, it's a challenge, especially with interest rates where they are. But, you know, there are people out there that and are, some of the questions that we get are, who are your renters? Well, it really varies. And we get some, I would think, you know, when we get these 2s and these 3s and some of the ones, you know, that we have these larger units, we would get some families in there. We get quite a few families. We get some people who are, might be going through some divorcees that come through there. We get people who don't want to mow their yard anymore, sell their house. They want to travel more. It really is across the board. You know, it used to be, it was a multifamily, used to be a starter, right, to go buy a house. It's not, it's the end game for some people. They just want to rent. And we see that in a lot of our communities. Thanks for your time, guys. Appreciate it. And, you know, we'll be working with Bob on some design. We have sent him preliminary ideas on some layouts. And there'll be more to come. I'm sure we'll see each other again.
So you have them in the packet. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So tonight is just your presentation. until the next meeting.
Discussion, possible recommendation for the Growing Wings site plan. So.
Got me snoozing a little bit here. Apologize. Yeah, I'll share my screen in a minute. Can you allow me to share my screen?
I think I can do that. I think we should be able to now.
Okay. So I'll start with this view here. So, if you've, hopefully you've read my memo, a couple items that I mentioned, I can just paraphrase it quick here that, initially it's going to be, they have 3 lots. They're looking at grading out the first 2 lots, starting at 180th there and building one of the buildings. So they're grading 2 lots, but constructing just one of the buildings.
Coordinates on here.
Go. And then, as you may know, the city is bid and awarded a project and we're just about to start construction fairly, within beginning of September, was it? They want to start and we'll be running utilities from Grandeur down along 180th to serve these properties. So all the publicly owned stuff is being placed for them, for their building. And then what they will do is construct the service laterals and build the buildings and their facilities. So that is currently underway. And then just wanted to point out some of the grading. If you've been out there, it's fairly hilly and steep in some locations. And to create a flat surface here for the building and the parking lot, you do have a 3-to-1 slope behind the building.
So they're gonna push that whole top, that hill flat out, right?
Yeah, they're gonna, cut into it more or less and then push it over. And then the water, there'll be some temporary ponding on what will remain village owned, until additional development occurs, right? So if you look at the whole TID 5 area, there's kind of the bulk of it is upland and then it kind of slopes down and there's a lower portion there closer to the river. And to just maximize the value of the developable land, the thought is at some point as additional development comes in, be it, the multifamily or what have you, you would put in, you build a regional pond for the entire area. And then you'd get the water that is now temporarily coming off that. You'd swale it along the property line or what have you to get down to the ponds.
Have you laid out any of that on an overall map?
It is currently being laid out.
Yeah, and likewise, there's a temporary grinder station for the wastewater. And once additional development occurs and we have sufficient flows, then that's when a cul-de-sac would be put in, and it would be gravity down to a regional lift station that would sit down in that low area. And that lift station would not only serve your property or the village's property, but also the Plord property on the other side of the highway there. There was, when they constructed the highway, there was casing pipes put in anticipation that those flows and that water would be served through those casing pipes.
So looking at your note 6, would you be looking to have them, other than trying to deal with that much slope, somewhere in the back, construct a retaining wall?
No, I'm not saying that, but just vegetation appropriate for, that steep of a slope, I guess the question I'm not, they're here, but I'm not, what their plans, how they maintain it. I don't know if they're gonna install a crown bench or put in, what they're gonna put in there just to, stabilize the slope, but if it's just gonna be turf grass, it's gonna be more difficult to mow. And I might add too, there's 21 stalls proposed for the building, parking stalls. And they are here, so if you have specific questions about the operation, the clientele, that sort of thing, I'm sure they'd be happy to answer your questions.
24 unit buildings. Or
24 unit buildings, 6 unit buildings with 24 clients per building.
Each unit will be 4 bedrooms.
Would be 4 clients living in a home, and they'll all be tied together. For living and learning skills, we'll have a special education teacher on site to make plans for their daily and weekly things that they have to do depending on the client.
Yeah, so I don't know much about it yet, other than the building stuff, but is it all ages, special needs, all ages, and then they live there full time? Is that kind of?
They will live there full time. It's adult, it will be right after school, depending again on the client. There is a certain level where they're kind of mild to moderate cognitively disabled. Most of our clients can and do work out in the communities. They can hold jobs. They just need extra help with a lot of them things. Some have job coaches. Some are learning how to cook and clean and just take care of their own houses. Right now, the only thing they have for them is like a group home type of setting. And it's just not working out for them. They're kind of wasting away and not becoming a part of citizenship like they actually can. So that's what we're trying to do, is give them the extra help that they need. Some of them may be able to end up going to live out on their own after being at Growing Wings. Some may have to live at Growing Wings until they're ready to go into a senior citizen care type of facility.
Do you guys own other properties like this, or you're modeling it out after something?
This is our first one. We designed it, we're gonna build it, we're gonna manage it. We have been in the construction industry for 21 years. I have a daughter who is mild to moderately cognitively disabled. After having to advocate her for 30 years and her peers and see what's out there and readily available for them, it's pretty disgusting. Actually back in 2020, COVID year, my daughter got slapped by a staff at a group home. They hire like $15 an hour, excuse my mouth, but drug addicts, meth heads, things like that. And she told her, bitch, go to your room. My daughter is strong enough to be able to call me and tell me that. A lot of them are not. There's a lot of abuse that goes on. And this idea came to me. I have seen the missing link for their growth and development, which is the special education teachers. You can actually hire in a building of this setting, and our clients can live there for the same price as a group home. They have to be, they're gonna have to fill out an application. They're gonna have to be diagnosed. They have to already be on the St. Croix County, either IRIS program, or the other one changes its name all the time. I think right now it's inclusive. So there's two programs that fund these individuals who have been diagnosed, put on a waiting list. Their diagnosis is, as my daughter's is, she technically, if did not have family, if did not have a group home, would be a candidate for a nursing home at her age, which is not okay. It's mostly because she's vulnerable. She needs kind of 24-hour care to make sure she's not cutting up an orange with a knife, or, just different things like that. She needs to learn how to take care of her life, and she can. She's made since then, for now 3 years, I've had her living with my niece and kind of modeling what I want done in here. Hired a teacher, and we're going from there. So
And you guys are already all approved for construction and everything?
we went through excruciating SBA loan process. We had other financing available, but thought we would try that to see, and we made it through all that, so
When are you looking to break ground?
as soon as possible.
September.
I would have wanted to do it in May. So, yeah, as soon as possible.
So are these are all independent units, so they'll have some independency in the units? It's not a group setting?
It's an adult family setting in each unit, so there's 4 roommates per unit.
Okay, then you're gonna have an on-site care individual?
Each unit will have an, whatever you wanna call it, the special education teacher's assistant, who will be running the program. Basically, each person will have an individual growing plan, and it depends on the individual. Some might need more help with cooking, cleaning themselves, hygiene, work, social skills. They'll be making lists for grocery shopping. This isn't a place that we're taking care of them. We're teaching them how to take care of themselves. And we will work within the community. They will volunteer out in the community. They will bring in the community to maybe things that they make or that they do or things like that, and want to invite the community in to see who they are. They're amazing people.
And
Sorry.
the thing with, they all want to be independent, so that's part of it, and so we're trying to establish that independency plus teaching, safety, teaching.
Will each building, and this is kind of outside of the scope of it, but will each building that has a person, it will be 24 hours,
24
monitored by
hours,
at least one adult?
24/7. Each unit will be
24/7.
24/7. We'll have a person.
And there will be in the building, there will be a manager and the special education teacher who will be on site 3 days a week.
So these will be certified, trained?
But I have a
Individuals?
special education teacher who I took out of the high school system, who's been in it for 18 years, was absolutely amazing with her clients, and the second people know who she is, I could fill up all 3 buildings like that. No doubt. I've already had people calling me just since your last meeting. is a definite need. But like Corey said, growing the independence, we could have brought our daughter home with us and made her live with us and she would have been miserable. She don't want to do what we tell her to do. She wants to live her own life, come up with her own goals and live with her peers who will, the idea that I have in my head about this is they raise each other so much, their peers, that if one of their peers are going out to help pick up garbage on the street, 3 of them are gonna wanna come help because that's a good job to them. They wanna be good people. They want to do everything that you and I do. They just need more help to do it. They don't get to go to college. They don't get to learn all they need to in K through 21.
Is the lack of public transportation gonna be an issue?
Oh, we will have
You'll
our
have it.
staff will be driving them everywhere they need to go.
Good.
Doctor's appointments.
Each unit will have a shuttle.
Oh, wow. And then each unit is always at least one person, 24 hours.
Yes.
Oh, wow, that's what, okay.
I know we've been looking at your stuff since for a while now. Everything looks good. Does anybody else have any questions or anybody want to make a?
So I touch base on security, for entry, some of those things. Can you touch on that real quick? It was one of the questions I had for you.
We'll have camera systems in all the common areas, corridors, and so all the common areas will have cameras, we'll have key fobs in order to get in. There'll be a secure door system to get in, which we're working with our low voltage people to give us the best security system for getting in and out.
Good.
Any questions, you guys, or anybody want to make a recommendation to go to the full board?
Do you have your
I'll second that.
state approved plans?
We are in the process of their.
Plumbing was state approved. We submitted as a CBRF, but it's gonna go to AFH, so there was a small change in the layout of the units. Every unit requires a window, so that's being done. They already approved the plumbing portion, so.
When do you expect all the state approved plans?
I'm hoping by September.
And the
We
issue
have
just
a
comes,
meeting, we have a meeting with them next week, so on Monday.
the issue comes down there is that Growing Wings is a facility like no other at this point, so there's not an exact licensing for it. There's adult family homes and there's CBRFs, and this is kind of in between. CBRF, you have to take care of them. You're cooking for them, their dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner, all of it. It's all one facility.
Right now, we're going with the AFH, but eventually I think we'll probably wind up pushing it for a different type of license, maybe something.
More like a assisted
It's kind
living?
of like an adult family home community, the way that I see it. Educational living community. The group homes do have several places where they rent, townhouses and have them right next to each other. So it's kind of a similar aspect, except for getting them all to kind of work together, but yet individually and independently.
I would think we could make it contingent upon receiving state approved plans and all licensing permits before construction begins.
I make a motion to recommend that approval.
I'll second it.
Did you get it written down, Tasha? Any discussion? And that works for you guys, waiting until all the plans are complete and you can't really start
All the
before that
legal
anyway.
stuff
Yeah,
is
the
in
legal.
place. Yeah, all the legal stuff has to be in place, that's obvious.
And it'll go to the full board.
Would we be able to possibly start at least the excavation portion of it? Well, if
I would think so. Do we have
You
here?
just said no.
No,
No, you can't. You can't start a project without the state approval.
without the full state approval plans.
that was something we were gonna talk to the state about, Because
He's the
our
building inspector for the village, so that's,
architect was talking about, possibly if we get the permits in place, we could at least do some of the site work.
You're referring to grading.
Grading.
Correct.
Yeah.
Grading permit?
Tony would be okay with the grading permit, because I got a lot of grading to do
A
to
lot.
prepare the site.
But I guess that would be up to you guys, not up to us.
yeah, I would think once you get that grading permit, and as long as we have your, deposit or your down payment yet for the,
No, we just signed up today.
okay, then,
I mean, I put together a lot of grading permits. I don't know if you've done any recently, but I can certainly draft something up that the village wants.
and then, like, it's not a retainer, what's that?
Some escrow.
Yeah,
Yes.
that'll be part of the grading permit,
Okay,
just in case if they walk away, you have enough sufficient funds to button it up.
yeah, so that the village would get at least the escrow money before you guys start anything there.
Yeah.
Does that work for you, Tony, then too? Okay.
Yeah, I guess the reason we don't like people to start before we get the state approval is just in case something would happen. They have all this money stuck into grading and all that stuff.
I guess that would be on them then, if they put all their money into our escrow account and then just didn't finish it. I think there's language that says that if you don't even have it complete by a certain time, then the village.
We also don't feel comfortable that it's gonna pass through.
So we're trying to help.
Plumbing already
Yeah.
passed.
Yeah, so we're just trying to do the same thing and because you're gonna be spending the money, so if you walk away from it, you just did more work for somebody else behind you.
And that's your hesitation, right, is more protecting them than anybody else?
Well, it's kind of protecting everybody. I mean, you don't, as a village, you don't want somebody to go start tearing up a lot and then it sits vacant and dust and everything is blowing around.
They're just, spending the money to improve it of what somebody else in the future would have to do anyways to build on it. Right, Chuck?
I'm sorry, what was it? Sorry, I was taking the notes, so.
So, but what they would be doing is basically, when they're grading it, they would just be improving it for the next person too, that.
Yeah, might not have the exact same footprint, but we all know that in order for that to be
has to be
developed,
level
well, yeah, you gotta create some flat areas, so. And, we are putting infrastructure in anticipation that that footprint is going in.
Yeah, for sure. So if you can work with Chuck and Bob on that, and get that, you'll draft up some kind of grading permit and then work with Bob on the escrow money, and then we'll get Tony in the loop too, to make sure everybody's on the same page and try to get you guys going as soon as possible.
Thank you.
If
They'll
that's,
get our erosion plan, all that, and controls and.
Yep.
And then Bob, or Chuck, how soon we have the maps, we can see where the intentions of the holding pond will be and.
You got it,
right?
Yeah, I'll work with Bob.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean,
I modified
we actually
approval
drafted up
as you have it written.
we did some preliminary drawings, for Florence, because as part of the purchase of TID 5, they're, the village is obligated to build some infrastructure, for that. And so we have some draft plans on how that would occur and what that would look like. I'm happy to share that with you.
So do you-
It doesn't show the ponds at all, but it would show kind of, the conceptual cul-de-sac. But until you know who's coming in and what they want to do, right now, it's just, it's our crystal ball.
I'm assuming that Eau Claire is gonna wanna be on the other side of this TID 5 here. So tying it all together kind of. and-
When you say the other side,
But they just, look at, not know exactly where their plans
They'll be
are.
to the east,
to the east of Groveland, yeah.
kind of in the middle.
want to show them up on that.
Yeah, I am.
Right in this area, so this is where Growing Wings will be, up on this ridge. And this area would be presumably.
Those guys.
Really. Eau Claire, really.
So, and then we would build support networks or support services around there, so reserving space for commercial land. For frontage and for the river, and then making the roads. So that's what we're doing right now with planners, is trying to get the roads, the lots, kind of. Because we start out organically, so you kind of put a building and then there's another building, but then you gotta figure out how to tie the network together. So that's what we're in discussion with right now. So when it comes to time, we'll figure out how to sign all
You guys
those.
are working on them.
Yeah, Tremblay.
Yep, yep. So reserve some room for a Cowboy Jacks or something. So.
Can you show me one more time where that's going? I'm. Okay. And then where was the other? Okay, okay, thank you.
Just south of the Ranger.
Got it. Got it.
I guess my other concerns would be is the slopes in the back and everything. If they come up with somewhat of a plan to kind of give us an idea what they want to do with that.
Probably a low growth fescue, something like that, or it just grows up to, 8 inches.
Maybe something you don't need to mow, but they don't want to fix washouts every week either. So we'll be motivated to make sure it's established and.
Those have a gnarly root system,
Keisha, do you wanna read back, Lane's motion?
Yes, so motion to approve to go to the full board, contingent on all plans being state approved. Will also allow grading permit to be obtained with funds secured in escrow.
Exactly what we said.
Good?
Yes.
Okay,
Any discussion? Well, there was a second.
Okay, me. A second, yeah.
Yeah, there's a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion
Aye.
carried. Thank you guys very much. Yeah, let us know if there's anything we can do to help.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Discussion and possible recommendation, Floatright Inc. request to construct 2 storage buildings. Parcel 181, 1006-95-000.
which would just be the.
It looks like this just got put on the agenda yesterday.
Yeah, isn't
I
there,
haven't seen anything for it.
Dave, doesn't it have to be like, I thought we had to wait a full 14 days. We weren't gonna do that anymore, I thought.
That's what motion you put together.
Yeah, so we can't see this until next month.
We can discuss it. We can
Yeah, we
discuss
discussed
it.
it. Yeah.
We can discuss it.
Is that a new ordinance?
No.
16 days?
That's
It's in
It's 14.
the minutes because we were getting dumped on with some of the larger projects.
But it's not an ordinance.
Yeah, yes, it is.
I think it is an
It
ordinance.
is an ordinance. It's 14 days.
Yeah, for anything for the planning commission,
Okay.
14 days, and that it gives everybody at least 10 days to review it prior to a meeting.
Andrea won't have it.
Yeah, I
I was
couldn't
in there
find it when I
yesterday.
left.
It's not an ordinance.
But if it was changed
In the
recently,
minutes,
it could
yeah.
not be updated on the website either.
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
sure.
Probably
3 months ago in vacation.
It's at least 3 months, right?
The discussion happened 2-3 months ago. I have no idea to what legalities they got put down. It was discussed a while back, because a big organization came through and kind of felt like they were plowing forward. So that was a discussion. I have no idea to what formality.
Is that just for big organizations and not little ones?
Well, if you
Sure,
wanna,
sure.
John, if you wanna, come up here and discuss what you're looking at, we can talk about
You want me to walk up to the podium?
it. Sure.
So I bought a building in Hammond that was 240 feet long by 40 feet wide by 14 feet high, and I'm putting it behind, I think, did everybody get a copy of that?
Yep,
Okay, you get a copy of the signatures from the homeowner?
I just left that, their signature up with the big site plans there.
Okay, so there's 4 houses that it butts up against their property on 710 Spring Street. And all 4 of them have absolutely no problem with it. I was working with Tony, the building inspector, and I was notified yesterday that, I mean, maybe you can help me out a little bit, Tony, how it came up, because to be honest with you, I don't really know. But it hadn't come, it was
Well, we
recommended.
just wanted to make sure and we asked you to bring it to the village
Right,
planning commission.
so I'm not quite sure why, I'm here to be honest. And then as the day rolls on, all my land's in conservancy. It's been there for, I don't know, 70 years. So I guess you guys have to tell me what's going
I'm
on.
saying all the float rate properties in conservancy.
Can I just say one thing? I don't think you should be involved in this discussion.
You can say what you want, but I'm just asking a question.
I'm talking to the board. You have to excuse yourself from anything that we have. You know that.
I do not for this.
What does your land in conservancy mean? Or does that put restrictions on you? Because how would that apply to this?
And who put it on the property? So campground are typically held in conservancy zoning, meaning it's for recreation use. There's not gonna be any large scale development on it. And any structures that go into that have to be attached to the business itself. So tube shed, bus garage, all those things that were there were part of a business plan. Well, if there's other things, then the zoning should be changed if it doesn't. If you can't draw a connection between the campground to that, so let's take float right away from it, let's say up from the campground, put I don't know, a bicycle shop retail store. Well, they would have to change their zoning for that because otherwise they would have to prove some type of connection between that and campground. So again, that's kind of what maybe should have happened after some of the new businesses came up, but again, I didn't realize, and some of it isn't commercial, so where your wedding venue is, where the tavern is, or both wedding venues, that's commercial, so that's not an issue, so this upper part though is back in the conservancy, so I was surprised when I saw that, I looked it up. So that is another layer of.
How did the other pieces get put in commercial when they were more part of the campground than this higher part?
I think that it's me, so I don't know. If you
I honestly,
Because it would almost seem like when that happened.
I don't think anybody knows honestly.
Doesn't
I
have to
mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bob,
Necessarily be resolved.
but if that map is right, I mean, it came up yesterday, I spoke to Bob about it, and I didn't want to get everybody involved in the middle because of things that have happened in the past, but if I have to zone it to commercial or highway commercial, it don't matter. It's not like it costs more, or it doesn't matter. My main thing right now is I turned in a building permit to the building inspector, came to the village, got the paperwork. I have the people hired that we're gonna start next week that's been on their schedule for 60 days. It's Eric Peterson, a local contractor from Somerset. And I guess I'm asking this board if I can start on it and I can rezone the property, or if I have to. Like I said, this came up at 3 o'clock yesterday, Bob. I have,
In conservancy, isn't just building a line. I mean, I don't have to, because it's so short, I don't have any information here.
So, yeah, and
It's part of the business.
States that you can get a conditional use permit.
so again, it needs to be attached to what the property is zoned conservancy, green space. And the building was, set up for that, so a tube shed, well, I do tube, so it's attached to my business and it's allowed. Now, another use that's not, you put a hair salon in, I don't know how you're gonna attach that to.
So John's got property that's commercial and property that's conservancy with,
Third word.
with the old flow rate park.
Right.
So that's the conundrum here.
And Chuck and I went through our zoning
It's a storage container.
about a year ago, and we got frustrated with it because it's kind of a mess.
Is this just gonna be storage for like Christmas lights and stuff, or?
that
Type of stuff?
are gonna be here in about 30 days. $500,000 worth of it that I don't really want to let sit outside.
Just storing, just storage.
Yeah, so it's not another business.
It's not another business, it's just to store your
Yeah.
lights only,
It's, well, lights and.
or whatever you're storing.
Right.
That can't be tied back to a campground, just out of curiosity.
If you want to make that connection, I'm leaving that up to you.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
I-
storage is a
I-
campground,
I
perhaps,
was
isn't it?
thinking more of, not the campground, but Sam's Christmasville.
right.
La Pointe cups,
Okay.
glasses, I mean,
But to get this moving forward faster rather than slower, and since it's not an issue to anybody anywhere,
and I went to all the neighbors and talked to them and showed them, walked out there, showed them exactly what I was doing and had them.
and they're all on board.
They signed the.
Well, they
Yeah.
would prefer it, so it's not just an eyesore.
So they
and
can't
it's
Right.
looking
everything.
horrible. This
Which,
will be
yes.
covered for that.
Almost
Okay.
exactly what we're demanding of every business is
Cover it
cover
all.
your stuff. We don't want your stuff junking the
Right,
property up.
and that's what it would do.
Yeah.
Sit outside.
so
Actually, that wasn't it. Most of them were really happy because they could just tie a fence to it so their dogs don't. Swear to God, 3 out of the 4.
Makes
So-
sense.
what,
I don't have a dog.
because it's kind of skirting around zoning, to give him a conditional use permit, what effect would that have? I mean, that's what the route you would need to go first, right? So,
I wasn't asking for a conditional use permit. It was, went to the building inspector to get a building permit and yesterday came up and here I am. It's 75 yards away, there's a mechanic shop. 40 yards away, there's a wood shed. 75 yards the other way, there's 2 blacktop driveways with a main gatehouse that has services 850 campsites. I don't know, I mean, it's been, that has been zoned that for, it's never changed.
So what would we have to, I mean, why would we have to do anything? How is it that you can't just, as long as the building inspector says, yay, how can you not just build it then? Other than it's in conservancy, but if it's then said
Commercial.
for the purpose of storing things at
for the campsites,
the campsites, because
then move it.
this Christmas Village stuff is going on the old campsites. So if we just said that that's what it's for, can't this just move forward right now? Without even,
I guess I just wanted your approval
yes,
before we issued the permit.
yeah,
I would assume that that property has campsites. And it would tie to that part of the conservancy, and then at a later date, you move it the way you want to.
as long as I've been sitting on the
Move it into
commission,
the,
I was
disapproval
ready.
means more
I'm
than
here to tell
anything
you,
else.
if
When the
everybody
neighbors
said
all
they wanted
say-
it,
As long as it meets our
The lights are
requirements.
kind of
As long as it
crappy,
meets
by the
our
way.
I don't know,
requirements.
the neighbors would take conservancy.
But I don't, we don't have the information in front of us that says what
To do.
the requirements of the conservancy are.
No,
right,
we don't, so you'd have to, somebody would have to look at that then, I suppose, right?
I think
And that's a-
Andrea is gonna pop
Condition
in, because
on
she,
that?
we were looking at it yesterday, so
Okay.
she's gonna.
Tony, would the conditional use permit have to go through the planning?
Well, it
commission?
depends on what you, like Bob said, what you classify it as. If it's just storage for his, that he can combine it with his business, then I believe it's allowed.
and that's what it is.
It's right in black and white that it's allowed in there. Bob had the paper yesterday.
Yeah, if he says it's a story, then we're good,
But I think,
we're good.
I think even with it being in conservancy, and maybe Andrea, that's what she's jumping in, I think there had to be some distance requirements,
Oh.
I think.
Oh.
It was a-
So
it was a-
hopefully she'll chime
It
in
was
here,
a
but
50-foot on conservancy compared to a 20-foot unless you got a variance from your board. And
Okay,
that's why I went and got
That's
the
why.
paper signed from all the neighbors.
okay, to get the variance,
Yes.
all right.
But I'm not, I'm certainly willing, if you guys want me to zone it highway commercial or whatever.
But that's gonna take another meeting to get that done. It's not,
I think he's
it's
asking.
not gonna happen tonight.
Right.
We need
But
more information.
if, I mean, if.
Change the zoning, yes.
If I could say, Dan, that if that's what this board wishes, I would do so, that's what it is. If I could proceed, as long as the building inspector gives us permission with all the plans and everything is kosher, I can fill out the permit, pay the $250 and rezone it.
Right,
I don't have a problem with that.
and that's what
It
I,
probably should be rezoned, because there is 4 other buildings on the property already.
That's, and I think that's all that, I don't think we have much, because the variance is an easy yes.
Well, rezoning it would incorporate the repair shop, auto repair shop too.
Correct.
You need a conditional use permit for that too. With the new zoning, I mean,
Exactly.
there's multiple layers, there's multiple things here that was going on.
Right.
And so to make sure that all the Ts are crossed and the Is are dotted, we know that that would be a yes when it comes through, if it takes us time period to do.
But do we need to change the zoning?
Oh,
That's what I'm saying.
I'd say not yet, because.
We need to change
technically,
the zoning. That's what I'm trying to figure out
At a
here.
later date, if he wants to change his zoning, but right now, I think if he ties it to the campground, then it fits inside.
the conservancy.
And
Yeah.
storage does, it just does, so.
So I think right now.
I'm just trying to do what's right, so it's not Facebook.
That's what I'm trying to figure out here, so we don't, make it
Bob.
really complicated.
You got something, right?
Well, so the only thing that we want to make sure is that he's not gonna impact the property owners on Spring Street's backyards. So we need to make sure that the drainage is going away from those properties and staying on his property. That's the biggest concern that I have, because I've been dealing with people's backyards and water for over 5 years, and frankly, I'm tired of it.
Okay.
And I don't want another situation.
So I just regutted
Then it
parts
has
of
to
my
go.
house and garage. I can give you my old gutters that I took down, and you can make sure that you get it.
It's actually all sloped already. Tom Landry came in and he's gonna have the slope coming from north to south around to the front side of the building.
So none of your roof runoff is going to affect these landowners that are in favor of you building.
And Bob can go out and look at that.
And that's what you
sure
meant, right?
Somebody can,
I think it would be the building inspector.
you'll get all that, alright.
Thanks, sure.
Well,
Either way, we can't make an approval tonight just because it hasn't been 14 days. So I think we can send it back to the attorney to get his opinion, interpretation on it.
So my planner says that seems that the conditional use is necessary based on 13-1-51. Public hearing required, rezoning not necessary.
Okay.
Public hearing required for zoning, not necessary.
Say that again?
So you don't have to rezone it.
You don't have to rezone.
Conditional use.
Right, yeah, you'll have to get a conditional use, but
But Mike's saying you can't.
that
because they-
can check parallel.
And you've got the
Mike can't
assurance.
talk during this meeting or act on anything. Just so everybody knows, there's litigation between the village president and myself, and he cannot act on them. So
I'm not acting on anything. but I
you'll be
can say-
costing another lawsuit through the village to have the taxpayers pay for it, Mr.
Okay.
Chambers.
Okay.
So what you can see here then is that it's a go. It just has to be not official until every T is crossed and I is dotted.
Well,
The
we have-
CUP and
in
whatever
order to
else.
do it correctly, we have to have a public hearing.
Yeah, that's just what he said.
So it has to come
Will you say
before
that
next
again one more
month's
time,
meeting.
please?
That's why I'm here tonight.
A
That's why
conditional
I-
use permit is necessary,
Yeah,
but not.
We could see, we can, the next month.
And you
we
said
can
a
do the
public-
CUP and the public hearing.
yeah. The CUP with the public hearing, and thirty, yeah, it has to be.
Or otherwise we're going against our.
Yeah, we can't do that. All right, there.
And then
So.
we just attended
Where's-
that
I'm just-
training session.
I'm just asking, because we still haven't talked about it.
A
The
CUP,
ordinance for the 14-day thing, is that even a thing?
Oh,
You wouldn't.
'Cause I still haven't heard that.
So what I'm hearing is half the board is saying I don't even need a permit. You're saying it needs to have a conditional use permit. The building inspector yesterday was saying he's just covering his butt so he doesn't get fired. And now
Well,
you're telling me I gotta wait till next month.
well,
Andrew
I mean, if you wanted to,
ordinance
I mean, if
now?
you, so if you tie,
Yeah.
Is there a 14-day ordinance? Can Andrew
you,
answer
you
that
could
question?
tie it, you could tie it to its
Why not?
current
I want
use.
the numbers listed.
yeah, so can it move
Andrew.
forward
I would
even
think,
without any
I would think you
board
could,
involvement?
yeah,
That's what I'm wondering is,
I
I
think you
don't even
could.
think that there should have to be any board involvement to move forward, right?
If it
Yeah,
ties to
but
the.
to clean up the other
I
stuff, you
came
know.
here, Mr. Belter, in common courtesy to keep these two individuals out of it.
Yeah.
That's why I came here. I didn't even have to come here.
Right, that's what it feels like,
Thank you.
is there's no need for the planning commission or board to be involved in this. As long as you two feel confident that no board members or planning commission members would have issue with this.
And
But
then I will
Well, I'm
say,
saying the conditional use for those other, the other businesses,
Mhm.
like the, whatever, the repair shop and the,
I mean, that's concurrent.
yeah, that kind of separate from this though.
Right,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be an issue if it's rezoned.
Yeah.
And
so,
then you don't need a rezone.
You don't need to rezone.
Right, we're not rezoning.
Yeah.
so
But you need the public hearing and to.
For those- yeah, for those other-
that building.
so let me,
Those
let me
other-
ask this question, whatever I need, I will do. Can I get permission from this board tonight for my contractor to start construction pending the building inspector and Mr. Gunther approve the drainage stuff? And if you want me to rezone, I'll rezone. If I need a conditional use permit, I'll get a conditional use permit, just like you did for these folks that they could start in on doing their stuff.
But I think, yes, I think that we've already said, haven't we, that
All I'll request is having one of our site engineers who's on site for the next month here, go out there, verify things, sign off on it. And
you're good to go?
That's my request.
Yes.
and then just after we did that training session for Amory, so am I correct in saying that if he maintains and services with the campground, the building could go up, and then at a later date, if he elects to go for conditional use permit, then he can go through that whole process.
That's my interpretation. Yeah.
So just to protect us, am I correct? Or do you think I'm correct?
Yeah, all those for next. Yeah,
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 that's
I
my
agree with that.
interpretation.
Okay,
Yes.
I think you're good to go.
So
you don't need a motion from us.
what am I
No.
doing?
You're
Have
good to go.
fun. See you later.
Bob's gonna send the site engineer out to make sure everything's good. And building inspector's gonna say everything's good.
And as soon as
And-
Bob says, good.
We're not even involved in this because it's just site engineer, building instructor, get busy.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Right.
So, and is that correct, Tony? You can build on commercial property without going through the planning commission or the board?
What was that?
Can he build, can he get a building permit and build without going on commercial property and or conservancy without going through the planning commission or the full board?
Can he put up a pole barn without our approval?
Yeah, he doesn't
A1
need our approval to put a building up.
Right.
As long as it's tied to the,
A1 zoning does not require plan commission
So-
or site plan.
So,
Yeah, he
That's zone A1.
and the building inspector is gonna make sure it's within the code, or the code, yeah. Yeah.
So you're good with everything then, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
from you guys that it was okay.
It's okay.
I was,
Yeah.
there was some different things going on there. I knew there was houses right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't the adjoining landowners need to be like
They signed
notified?
off on
Bob,
What's that?
it.
you know,
They signed off.
what did where's that paper? I didn't even get to read that. The thing they signed. I mean, does anybody, I mean, anybody, I don't know. I know how he is too. I would probably sign it if he was in front of my face too, to be honest with you.
And isn't that the reason you do public hearing to get everybody's input? And I guess I've never
Well,
seen where.
Because
Can you confirm?
we don't need any input on the building
No.
unless there was a change of zoning or.
So site plan approval in R3, so multifamily, C1, C2, and industrial districts shall require a site plan approved by a plan commission in accordance with the requirements in this section. So R1, they don't come to you to build a house.
Right.
That's done, and then, and this zoning does not to the site plan, which I had to look up yesterday.
Because we never deal with conservancy. Nothing ever happens in the
I had a hard
conservancy
time
district.
finding it, to be honest.
I did too. When I didn't realize it until I got the site plan where it was.
Steve, I kind of want that ordinance number for that 14 days. So I thought Andrea did say that
I
was,
thought she,
right, Josh? She's like,
Felicia
it's
told
already
us it
written
was,
in.
an ordinance.
Felicia, yeah.
Felicia, because I had asked about it, and I said, I thought we had a 15 day, and I said it was business days.
Yeah, but she said no.
Yeah, and she corrected me and said it's just days.
Day,
but we
day.
don't- The village doesn't work on Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
So technically, when I'm sending out stuff to contractors and business owners that I'm working with right now, it's business days on everything.
But that doesn't apply in this situation because he didn't need our approval.
Yeah, he didn't even-
No, not at all. So it shouldn't even. have
Right,
been on
Yes,
the
if he
agenda.
wants to
Yeah,
rezone, he's gotta be there
Right.
for 14 or
And then
15
that'll be
days.
14 days.
So that's why I
But
asked
that
if,
brought up the issue of, is it an ordinance or not?
Well,
That's
that's,
why I
and
said
that's
that.
what needs to be
Thank
found
you.
out. It does have 14-day
Yeah,
thing.
is that a
Did
thing?
it get
Right.
officialized? Or was it still just a discussion
Thank you,
thing?
that
it
was my
wasn't
point.
discussed,
Thank
but
you.
that's why I asked if I was correct in the way I was hearing it, to say that if it's in the conservancy, in the park, in the float and camping park, under that terms, then can you build it?
Yeah.
So that's what
So,
needs to be
I
found
mean,
out.
to me, it seems, evident, but as we went to that training, we kind of referenced that we should be very careful on how we grant stuff to people so that we're not liable later.
Right, and that's why I'm not a big fan of the 9th hour stuff and
No,
we don't know what kind of.
But in this
building
case,
actually
he
going in.
didn't, wasn't required to come here.
Well,
I was not gonna vote one way or the other on anything because we're 2 days into it.
Right,
We're not
yes.
gonna-
where does this?
Yeah.
When it comes with attorney, that's why I want
Very
to
happy
leave.
you are.
it
Look at that.
Yeah,
This is a
it'll
good
So
thing.
what's zoned at?
This is a
All
weird
right,
thing.
and you couldn't have known that, so
No.
you couldn't have known that because
Yeah.
that is a
What's on
brand
the
new
county's
thing.
map?
I mean, when you told him, hey, maybe come here and see what's up,
I got the county's-
that is a brand new thing from a couple months ago that we've been discussing. And none of us can even find yet if it's officially in the books.
Can I say something?
Oh, please do.
I was just going to say, if we're going to keep growing as a community and try to do stuff together, whether it's Cappers building a storage or John building a storage, you know, we just need to look at the individual and what they're wanting. I get that we didn't get the 14-day notice and it looks like they didn't even need to come to us anyways as it stands. So I just wish we would be more one and forget. People have passed. We all do.
The
Thank you.
map, the map does show conservancy. for that
the real issue, Brenda, is that if we're gonna do our job diligently, they've got to get it to us, and I think giving them a 15-day period is very generous. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
that in St. Paul, if I want to build a shed, I need to go to the council, have my stuff submitted to everybody down there 30 days in advance, and it could be 60 to 90 days before I get my stuff looked at.
Yep, and I agree, if our thing would have said, you know, that we did need to be involved, and in this case, it sounds like we didn't, but if we would have need to be involved, then yes, come back
Oh,
next.
Correct.
And
And
Brenda,
next
right now,
month, so
it's
we have-
zoned. It's
Get our due
zoned,
diligence. I totally agree that we need to have that time factor. I think in just this situation.
but it is zoned conservancy right now. You can see it right on the map, right behind those houses, that whole area is conservancy, not commercial or.
Right, and if he hadn't met that part of it, I wouldn't have voted tonight. I would have said I have to come back 30 days.
Can
I
you
agree.
build on conservancy property?
I,
You can, Tony?
As long as it's combined with his business.
storage.
I think Andrea might be trying to.
Right,
So.
I kind of wish everybody here could have attended the meeting in Amory for the few that did show up. It was good, it kind of enlightened me a little bit, but, you know, we really can't do favors outside of our ordinances without possibly opening ourselves up to something in the future. And what we do for one person, we've opened the door and where we really can't deny somebody else in a similar situation.
Yep,
know,
and that's,
so
and that's
It's a
not what I
tightrope
said.
that we're kind of walking and.
Yep.
You know, I kind of agree with the state's recommendations to us that, you know, just document, be very thorough in everything you do. So,
And I agree with all that.
You know, Andrew, speak now.
She said she'll send an email.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thanks,
You'll
Andrea.
send us an email?
Andrea.
She wasn't able to get a word in.
All right, moving on.
Moving on.
I do have a question. Is there a way you guys can get a committee together to go through the ordinance book?
We
Because
just did a few years ago.
But this is, but the one we're talking
3 years
about,
ago?
the one we're
Did
talking
we?
about is just brand new, if it even.
no,
officially-
and I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking, fence ordinances, sign ordinances.
Yeah, that's something we should look at, Tony.
What's that?
That's something we should look at.
I mean, I deal with a lot of fence ordinances. In one part of the ordinance, it says it can't be in the front setback. Then the other part of the fence ordinance says as long as it's 4 feet or less, it can.
How about this? Can you email us your recommended changes and then we'll take a look at it?
But I think
You want a committee to
He
look
would
at
like to have a set of ordinances though
I
that
mean,
he
it's
knows
it's your ordinance.
we have, yeah.
And that's why I think if you guys get a committee together, I'm willing to sit down and help and go through stuff with you, but it's not my ordinance. We just enforce it.
Is there a lot of ordinances like that you're seeing that?
Well, the seed and sodding one, we went through that last fall. I think that finally did get approved. This fence ordinance, I have issues with too, and
How about we put it on committee meetings and we can discuss how we're gonna handle that? Yes, we're gonna have to nibble away at those.
okay.
So when you see conflicts like that in the ordinance, Tony, I'd say,
Shoot us an email.
let us know.
Okay.
Because we don't want to generate conflicts out in the field for a resident.
We still have the comp plan to get through though too.
Yep.
This book is big.
So we're gonna get back to point of order.
All right. No action taken on that. Just discussion of the comp plan.
And Chuck, I think, because you're currently the host, you have to make Amy the host.
Oh, Amy.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Amy.
If I can share my screen, that would be great.
They do have a copy of the presentation in front of them.
Great. It looks like hosting is disabled. If the host of this meeting could allow me to share my screen, then I
Oh, I'm the
can.
host.
Yeah.
You're the host, Chuck?
Terrible one.
No.
Ah, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, does everybody see the presentation, the PowerPoint?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, awesome, great. My name is Amy Bennett. I'm a senior planner with MSA. I work out of the Milwaukee office, and that is why I'm not with you this evening. Claire typically out of our Twin Cities office typically attends your meetings, but she is committed elsewhere tonight. So I'm stepping in for her, and I will do my best to guide you through these chapters tonight and explain where we are so far in the process. I hope you're having as much fun as we are working on this comp plan. And I will try to keep it going quickly because you guys have had a pretty heavy agenda this evening. So let me get started here. I'm just going to start with our agenda. So we're just going to do a quick project overview, just a few reminders of the process and where we are and what we've done so far. And then we'll go through the intergovernmental cooperation, the economic development, and the housing chapters that we are proposing and that you have a copy of in front of you tonight. And I understand you have a copy of the PowerPoint as well. So stop me if something is confusing or you'd like some clarification or have some comments. Just let me know. I'm happy to stop at any time. So project interview, this has been an ongoing process. I know you've done a lot of public engagement already in this process, starting last fall. You've had a community survey that's been completed, and now we're in the document phase. And you had a meeting last month with Claire going over a few chapters, and tonight we'll go over some more. So the planning area, just a reminder, you've all seen this map already, but just a quick view of that with that 1.5 mile radius around the village. And then just a reminder of the vision statement. And I think from comments at the last meeting that everyone was pretty well satisfied with this vision statement. We tried to take information from all of that public engagement and that streeter effort that you had to come up with this. So just a quick reminder. And again, just a reminder of the 9 elements that we're working on in this process. Again, tonight we're going to go through the goals, the policies, and the actions that are proposed for the 3 elements. So we'll get started with intergovernmental cooperation. First goal we have, collaborate with neighboring communities and other government entities to achieve sustainable growth patterns in the Somerset area. And so we reviewed your existing comprehensive plan and were, able to pick and choose from that plan and incorporate it into this new plan and update it, accordingly. And so if there's anything else that we've missed or that you think needs to be included related to working with surrounding communities, if you have any agreements that we need to include, any projects or public works projects, this is the chapter to think about that and to incorporate some of that information. So policies here, 1, 2, and 3, openly communicate and work closely with surrounding local government entities to manage land use, zoning, environmental, stormwater, and extraterritorial boundary issues. That's a big sentence there. Work closely with the Somerset School District to foster communication, relationships, and knowledge about planning and growth activities. And 3, promote development of greenway corridor and non-motorized trail networks between Somerset and surrounding communities. Some actions to accomplish those policies: schedule regular working sessions involving elected officials and key staff from the village, the school district, and other groups to discuss and consider opportunities for collaboration, analyze ways to enhance the sharing of recreational areas between the school district and the village. I've worked for a number of communities, and having those relationships with the school district can really pay off. A lot of times, the school district, they're their own taxing jurisdiction, so they may have projects in mind and can go about them. But if they talk to the village early and get through the process and understand, so there aren't surprises when they want to pull a building permit, there's been that communication that can help quite a bit, especially with a growing school district. Meet at least semi-annually with representatives from the town of Somerset to coordinate projects and address shared challenges. Our second goal, enhance the efficiency and quality of public services by collaborating with other governmental entities in the region. Policies, work cooperatively with other units of government and seek intergovernmental agreements that can provide cost-effective and high-quality public facilities and services. Coordinate with all adjoining jurisdictions during outdoor recreation planning to seek, recreation investments where services may overlap. Work to avoid duplication of these unique amenities if possible. And some actions, explore opportunities for state and federal grants to develop joint services with contiguous municipalities to reduce costs and improve services. And so here, we're always thinking about stewardship grants, and you have to have a comprehensive outdoor recreation plan to apply for those, but that is something certainly to keep in mind when looking at recreation. Moving on, any questions about intergovernmental cooperation before I move on to the ED section?
One quick comment I had, Amy, was, they have a shared fire department. I don't know if that should be mentioned.
Okay. And shared with the town or shared?
No, correct.
Okay. Yeah, we have, if you look in the document, in fact, I can pull that up. We have, sorry, I don't mean to make you dizzy by scrolling through the document here, but let me get back up. We can put that information in, a lot of times we do in the snapshot here. So we'll be sure to add that if it's not here. Yeah, it looks like. Thank you for that. Let's get back to ED. So looking at the economic development chapter, there there was a lot of information from your public engagement and from the streeter effort for this project. And so we took a lot of information from that effort, and there was a lot of work put into that. And so some of these policies and actions are directly from the final, there was a final PowerPoint presentation, and we have all of that information. We've been going through it. And actually, it's been a really interesting, I've spent some time going through all of that information, and really helpful in working on this effort to come up with your policies and actions. There was really some great input and just helpful to learn about Somerset, actually, to be honest. So economic development, goal 1, develop and support a comprehensive approach to development activities in the village that will expand and diversify the local economy. So we have several policies for this. This is going to be probably the meatiest chapter here because there really are a lot of policies and a lot of actions that can be taken. So I'll go through these quickly. Policies: ensure there is an adequate supply of development and redevelopment sites ready for new business investment to maintain and expand the tax base. I know there was a lot of discussion in that public engagement about some of the existing vacant lots that you have available in the village. And so that's kind of what we're getting at here. Maintain existing infrastructure to support current and potential commercial activities. Encourage development that is financially sound, environmentally friendly, fits the community character, and does not create land use conflicts. Support locally owned businesses, small businesses, and startup businesses. Encourage retail, commercial development, and services to locate in existing commercial districts, especially in the downtown area and near the interchange. Encourage new industry and heavier non-retail commercial uses and services to locate in the Somerset Industrial Park, and promote opportunities for industrial park expansion. And if you look in the chapters that you have in front of you too, we do have some snapshot information related to, where the businesses are located, the employment, how many people are driving into Somerset to work, how many people are leaving Somerset. I think that's always an interesting diagram to take a look at to see what's happening in the community. How many people are living and working in Somerset? And in your case, it's a pretty small amount, about 100 people. So that's interesting information to have. There's also some data from the US Census that you can take a look at, employment related information in your top industries, which I'm sure most of you could guess anyway, but it's good to see that information in graph form there. So some actions: consider utilizing incentives like tax incremental finance districts, revolving loan funds, and reduce land costs to support commercial business and industries. Implement feasible recommendations from the Apple River Waterfront Development Plan and the Village Park Master Plan. Consider purchasing additional land to expand or build a new business park. Any questions about the first goal? It's a lot of information here.
All good.
Okay, I'll keep going. Goal 2, revitalize the downtown as a place for the community to gather day and night, 7 days a week. Policies include promote a mix of businesses that align with the community's needs and aspirations while preserving the historical character and small town charm of the downtown. Strengthen the downtown identity, providing for economic and social opportunities. Seek opportunities to connect the downtown, village, park, and the riverfront to create a cohesive, expanded downtown district. Explore so some actions to get there. Explore options to fund, promote, and support the downtown, redeveloping vacant lots, enticing property building improvements. Develop a downtown plan that considers a potential town center and redevelopment opportunities based on the vision portrayed in the Community Action Plan Committee in the CAP presentation. Develop and implement a downtown marketing campaign to attract businesses and entrepreneurs to invest in the area. Third goal, strengthen and support the Village of Somerset's tourism industry. So some policies: maintain cooperation with appropriate economic development corporations, small business development centers, and the Chamber of Commerce to assist it with marketing and the promotion of community events. promote Somerset's natural resources, including the Apple River, and local attractions to encourage tourist spending and business attraction within the village. Work to improve the reputation and image of Somerset tubing. Continue to partner with other communities and the St. Croix County to pull off events that benefit from combined resources. So a collaborative effort to partner. Some actions: develop a community-wide wayfinding signage system to better direct citizens and visitors to key destinations in and around the village. I saw a lot of slides in the presentation with the community engagement related to wayfinding and directions and how do we get to the park, and this seems hidden. So signage system. Consider opportunities to add community enhancement projects such as murals, entry features. Also, lots of examples provided in that engagement in those slides. Establish a community development task force to develop a cohesive brand for the village. Develop a strategy to foster family-friendly tubing. Work with the owner and leaser of the Somerset Amphitheater to consider additional non-music events such as, an art fair or a food event. Work with the Hudson Trolley Company about the village, getting on at least one of the tours that they offer to be a stop. Any questions on economic development? Comments?
No, we're good.
Okay, moving to housing. And again, most of the public engagement, the information we have really focused on economic development and business in the downtown area and that focus. Housing, we took a lot of the information from the community survey because there are a lot of questions related to housing in the village. So first goal, housing in neighborhoods throughout the village will provide a range of affordable, accessible, safe, and desirable housing options for existing and future residents. Policies include review and approve housing development proposals based on consistency with the land use chapter of this plan and the future land use map. Ensure the availability of affordable housing options for residents across various income groups, avoiding the concentration of any one income group in a specific area of the village. And if you take a look at the chapters that you have in front of you, if you look at the snapshot, just want to point out there is data about any information about what is affordable. So the general standard is that if you spend more than 30% of the area median income, it is no longer affordable to you. So if you're spending more than 30% of your income and then looking at what that area median income is, that's the standard rule. So we have in that chapter a snapshot of that. In fact, I'm going to show that to you because I think it's important to understand. I'm just going to pull that up really quick.
So it's
you can
saying what
see
our median income of the village is?
I'm going to see if we have that information. So if you look at the screen now, and this is on page 24 of the chapter that you have, 23% of owner households, and so that's of people who own their homes, and renter households respectively that pay more than 30% of their annual income. 30% is generally recognized as that affordable limit. So 23% of owner households in Somerset are paying more than 30% of their income, and 42% of renters. So just a fact to based on the US Census information to point out. And to answer your question, we would have, and I can forward that information to you, but it's not included on this page. So I don't have it in front of me what the Somerset median income is. But if you, at the end, I can pull up the data sheets and take a look at that and send it in the chat, but it's not on this page, but we can certainly provide that to you because we had to have that number to get to this. So anyway, back to the presentation here. Let me just see, where did I leave off here? Policies. think number 3, foster the development of high quality housing that meets the standards and expectations of the community that protect property values and the community's small town character. Encourage and promote housing developments that align with the projected needs of the village, especially independent adult senior housing to support the growing senior population. Encourage the maintenance and repair of existing housing units to promote the utilization of existing structures and to safeguard the health, safety, and welfare of village residents. More actions related to that first goal, regularly evaluate and revise zoning regulations to consider providing a wide range of housing options, accommodating the diverse needs and preferences of residents. For example, a lot of communities now allow accessory dwelling units in all residential districts, and that's something that allows flexibility in the code to allow, they're also called kind of mother-in-law suites, granny flats, but it's another space that you can add to your home. They're called accessory dwelling units. Implement programs or incentives to support the creation of affordable housing, such as tax credits, grants, or partnerships with developers and housing organizations. Consider utilize affordable housing, tax incremental district extension in expiring districts to capture additional funds that support housing initiatives. 75% of additional funds must be utilized to address affordable housing challenges and may be used for programs such as owner-occupied rehabilitation, new home construction, and the creation of a revolving loan fund. Proactively seek out and partner with nonprofit and public partners that specialize in creation and preservation of affordable housing stock and providing housing assistance to income qualified households, and create a list of resources that can be utilized by residents in need of assistance. Encourage both state and federal housing tax credit projects that result in new or rehabilitated income qualified units. Proactively seek out and recruit developers that are fluent and successful in state and federal application processes administered by WIDA. Work with the local mortgage lenders and WIDA to ensure all income qualified residents that have access to and knowledge of state subsidized and insured mortgage and loan programs. Goal 2, housing developments will be sensitive to the integrity of existing and future neighborhoods. Discourage large housing developments that are homogeneous, they're all the same, in favor of smaller mixed variety housing options where appropriate. Encourage the integration of mixed use development along collectors and arterials, especially in the downtown area, to promote a vibrant and walkable community. Encourage new housing starts in areas that are already served by public services. Encourage maintenance of identified historical housing structures to preserve the village's heritage. Continue to enforce regulations that safeguard the health, safety, and welfare of housing occupants. And last action, reach out to historical organizations to ensure rehabilitation, remodeling, and new additions to any historic buildings and housing structures to protect the integrity of the structures. Any questions on housing? That's a lot.
No, nothing.
We're all
Okay.
good.
Yeah, if you have any comments or concerns, please email them, send them to us. If you have any additional thoughts after you digest this a bit, let us know. This is a draft, and so we have, we still have a bit of the process to go. And here I have the anticipated timeline. You've seen this, but right now we're in meeting. Gosh, we're only in meeting 2, so we still have the land use, the future land use map, and the land use chapter to discuss next month. Claire will be back for that, and she will be in person because that is a great exercise to do in person when she can bring the village map, and you guys are going to have some fun with that. And then meeting 4, that's to look at the full draft plan, and then lastly with a public hearing and potentially adoption by the village board. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
After all that, oh, you're welcome. It was nice
You're a great
to.
speed reader.
Oh, thanks. I'm sorry.
It's hard to see the.
No, there's a discussion going on within.
Amy, there's
Okay,
a,
all right.
there's some other materials that Tremlett had forwarded to Bob earlier.
Okay,
I can send
Do you
that
have
out.
it?
Will you?
Yeah, I can send it.
You can send it?
Email, okay.
Oh, yeah, I guess we got it covered.
oh, okay, great. Yeah, I
No,
just
no.
have the chapters in the PowerPoint. That I'm not aware of anything else, but have a good night. And if you have any questions or any comments, just let us know and we're happy to make adjustments and or explain anything further or provide additional information. Oh, and in fact, let me look up that number and I will send it in the chat. I'm just gonna pull up my data sheets really quick.
Hey,
Um,
the chair was just looking for the chapters and we'll get it to him.
Okay, great. Great.
Thank you, Amy.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you. You too, Amy. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned at 7:50 PM. Wow.
Oh my God, I think that might be the longest one, even when we used to read those comprehensive, do you remember when we used to read it out chapter by chapter?
Hey Chuck, will you make me the host again?
Oh.
Stop.
Oh, gotcha. Hey, did I scare you the other day? I saw you driving and I'm like, hey.